That's right. It's that time again. It's Friday at 5. I'm Bob the Cigar Guy. This is Camacho Presents I Got the Smokes. Let's Ride podcast with me, BTCG, and I am glad you're here. Let's go ahead and start this off with something real quick before I talk to you about your day. Gentlemen, start your engines. That's right. Now, ladies, too, you count as well, but it's just iconic to say, gentlemen, start your engines at the beginning of a race. That's right. We gonna talk about some racing. It ain't rubbing if it ain't right. Rubbing's racing or something like that. But you know what? I want to go fast. You throw in any little catchphrase you want to do, because we're going to talk about all sorts of things when yours truly, Bob the Cigar Guy, became a professional race car driver. And we're going to talk about that. But it is Friday. It is time to fire up something good. Clock is going off. It's 5 o'clock. It's time to get in that car and get home and get to living. That's right. The weekend is for you. So go ahead and get you. I'm going to get me with this Camacho 2025 limited edition, delicious, delightful, lovely. I'm going to cut it up with this amazing, if you're driving, don't pay attention, this amazing year of the Chief Cutter. Look at that thing. That thing is gorgeous. Not only can you get the year of the Chief Cutter, you can get the year of the Chief Lighter. You can get the year of the Chief Humidor. We have a limited amount of them, and they are on sale right now. How do you get them? You just email chief@chevettereport.com and you say, I want to go fast. Now, actually, you don't have to say that. It would be cool, but you don't have to. You just say, hey, I want to get me some of that goodness, right? I want to get me some of that year the Chief 2025 branded Zycar quality importers, cutters, lighters, and travadors, right? Let's see if I can find that too much technology. There we go. We'll shut that back down. The gentlemen, start your engines, but I'm gonna leave that up for a little bit while. But this is a Davidoff show. This is a Camacho show. So with Camachos, you know what? You smoke cigars, light up a Camacho or a Davidoff or a Zeno or a Navo or a Zeno Nicaragua, or that's right, that Baccarat. Get you something good, get you something wonderful. Smoke. It's the weekend, baby. It's the weekend. The weather is phenomenal and flawless. This is good race car running weather. Tell you what, the day I was on the race car track getting my race car license, it was perfect weather. It was a little bit crisp in the morning, and you didn't sweat other than the stress that you had placed upon yourself as Bob the Cigar Guy to get your license. But we have to live life bold. That's right. Boy, that's a big old, I don't know why that got so big. Chief must have played with some stuff, because that thing is huge. Live life bold. And you know what? I'm down with it. We can live life bold. And Camacho, that sure is their catchphrase, and that sure is their lifestyle. You get to live life bold. Oh my gosh. Speaking of living life bold, I had an amazing work week last week. What was it, Monday? Last week, Monday, I got to go to race car school. It was amazing. It was fantastic. Now, why, Bob, do you say you're a professional race car driver when we know you drive like a grandma? We know that the First Lady Chief and your Gracie all say, can you speed up? Can you go a little faster? Can you really? I always leave a half an hour early, so I'm never late. So I can take my time. Like Mr. Rogers says, I like to take my time a lot, and when I want to do it right, I like to take my time to do it right. But you know what? Doing it right, sometimes you can't take your time. Sometimes you got to full send. You got to put your foot in that thing and boogity. And at that race car school, you had to. But why did I get to go to race car school? I'll tell you why. I waited 15 years to do this, by the way, 16 years since I've been in that plant. This was one of my bucket list things, the things that I wanted to achieve before I left that plant. That and working at SVO. And I got SVO, working special vehicle operations with the new vehicles before they get started, before they get done. So I actually get to put my hand in making a difference and making it easier for the car to be assembled. So that makes it better for the customer, because easier is better when it comes to building cars and finding out ways to fix things that aren't perfect to make them better and start coming up with processes. Being the tip of the spear, so as to speak, I'm doing that. And in doing that, I have to take some of these cars, not prototype cars. They're already been prototyped, but they have not been gone to full production. And so we have to test these cars sometimes. And testing these cars, we have to go on what's called the high-speed track. It's in the middle of the plant. Our property is 2 miles wide, 2 miles long, and then some. And slap dab in the middle where nobody could see is a racetrack. And you have to have a special badge. You have to go boop to get in there. I wish when he went boop, it said prepare to qualify, right? Remember that old video game, right? It doesn't. And I bet they're going to frown upon if I try to play danger zone in the car while I'm driving, because it is serious. It is, you need to be very attentive. You need to actually have a skill set to be able to deal with issues at high speeds that most people would never have to deal with. So they send us over to the performance center across the street, which is a race car school. You can actually go over there and pay to take classes, to take race car classes, to take motocross classes, to take off-roading motorcycle classes, to take off-roading SAV, SUV classes, going up over these hard things, and you learn the quality of the car, and you get to hone your skill set for going off-road, because these cars are not just beautiful, they're not just amazingly comfortable, they actually can make things happen. I'm not saying they are apocalyptic ready, but they are pretty dang close. I mean, they can take a beating and keep on riding. Let me toast this thing up. I've been talking too long because I'm excited. I am excited. Now, I just got done shooting the video that dropped last Sunday, for Steve Socket, No Barton Tobacco and Trust. And I talked about some of the adventures of my racing class. I highly recommend, if you like this content, you go and watch that content, because it's funny. It's hilarious. It's a story of where I am not the hero, even though I did gain the title. Not a great title to gain, but I did gain the title, self-proclaimed. But I am the Donut King. Could say I almost made my instructor nauseous. But before I talk about my instructors, let me talk about this. I said that I am now a professional race car driver. What does it take? Build on your resume, professional race car driver. In my mind, 4 things. Number 1, you got to be in a race car. I was. M4. Nice car, blue, beautiful car. Car number 3, you have to be on a racetrack or a designated track or course for racing. I was flat out racetrack. It has to be a competition. You can't just be out there on a Sunday drive. You got to be competing, and we did. I did. So 3 out of 4. What's the 4th one? You have to get paid, or the possibility of getting paid to be racing the car on the track. I did. I got paid for this. Life is good. Life is good. And if you ask me right now, Bob, was it worth it? Was the 16 years leading up to this, did the reality live up to the dream? And I will tell you, it exceeded the dream. It was so much fun, and it was so knowledgeable. I learned so much. I actually became a better daily driver than just learning how to drive. I was very impressed with the focus on safety and the focus on precision. Speed comes, but there's speed involved, but you have to be precise. The faster you go, the more precise you have to be. And we're going to talk about the fact that me and my partner, Jose, could not maintain the lower speed that we were supposed to have. We kept getting in trouble. Car 3 was constantly mentioned on the walkie-talkies. All the cars had walkie-talkies. There were 4 cars, 2 groups, or 4 groups of 2. And you'd hear car 3, think you can slow down? Car 3, you added 20 miles onto that. You didn't have to. Why are you going so fast, car 3? My partner, who was Jose, who was riding with me the whole time. He's a shorter guy. He's got a more exotic accent than I do. And by the time it was over, they called us twins, because both of us kept getting called out for the same thing. And we blamed the car. But no, we would just We were eating it up. We were getting it. We were having a great time. But our instructors, to be an instructor at the performance, and you have to have a pedigree. You have to be in some racing. You have to be amazing. You have to know your stuff left, right, and sideways, right? And so our instructors had many, 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 many experiences from dirt tracks to um, go karts to they probably raced skateboards when they were kids to running the NASCAR Truck Series, running the Mazda Cup, all sorts of stuff. And so they knew what they were talking about. Amazing, amazing fellows. I really enjoyed spending time with them, and we would get to spend time with one of them later, and I'll talk about that later on the show. So that's a cliffhanger. Hang on, you're going to find out more about that, and you're going to want to know more about that. But we got into the class. We got into I don't know. First 2 hours was a full day. It was a full day. We got in the first 2 hours basically of talking about hand position, seat position, how important seat position is. I had no clue, and I did everything wrong. My hand position's wrong. I'm running with one hand on top of the steering wheel, or one hand on the bottom of the steering wheel, or 10 and 2, and it's supposed to be 9 and 3, and you're supposed to learn how to uh, when you turn, how you're supposed to use your hands. I didn't know, and it all made sense. And I'm that geek. I'm that nerd. You show me the tech, you show me the technical ways of doing things. You give me the science and the math behind it, and I'll catch it. I'll hook it, and I will teach it. I've actually showed some people at work. I said, "Hey, sit in the car real quick. Let me show you your proper position and why." And I'm a real good parrot. I'm a real good speaker. If I have good information inside of me, I get that information out to as many people as possible, because in my heart, in my desire, I want everybody to have the best experience possible. So if I learn something great and fun, I share it with them. I also got to learn a lot about the car, and I got to push the car to the limits. And I was so surprised that I this car can do so much more and is so much safer and so much more fun than where I was at. I thought I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna mess up this car," and blah 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 blah. And mm, these cars are nice. These cars, the technology is crazy. And luckily, one of the benefits I have working at the car mill is I can lease different cars. And so I can lease not just the cars that we build, but cars across the whole platform. And so I actually have a 4 Series convertible, which I love. I love. I didn't think I'd love a convertible with the top down. I just it just speaks to me. Oh my gosh, I just enjoy that top down so much. It's freeing. It is. And so now I have learned how to enjoy it even more in a safe manner. Now, I will say this. They said this is a professional course. These cars and these tires and everything else are tuned to perfection. You don't have potholes on a racetrack. You don't have oil spills, slicks, gravel, sand, leaves, anything on these tracks. You also don't have um, laws of the speed limit in the police department. They have rules and laws. We have to be smart about it, but it's a whole different avenue. Do not drive out of the parking lot and just treat the roads like this, because it's not the same environment. And I appreciated that. But I go to work at 4 o'clock, 4:30 in the morning, South Carolina. And one of the roads that I get on near the airport, near the plant, has a sweeping curve, a mile long, nice, slightly banked, sweeping curve. No roads turn in on it. It is all by itself, almost in the country. It's open where you can see all over the place, and nobody's out there at 4:30, 4:45, 4:50 in the morning. And a fella could get on that car and hit that corner and feel like something with the top down at 100 miles an hour. And with the knowledge that I learned if it was a racetrack, you could go 100 miles an hour and just be comfortable. Now, that's against the law. And my instructor said, with great skills come great responsibilities. Shout out, Spider Man. Don't be doing stupid stuff out there on the road. So I did not drive that car 100 miles an hour in a curve. I did not do that because that would be wrong. And Bob the Cigar Guy believes in rules and laws and following them. But then nobody's watching. But boy, howdy, that road was calling me. I could see hitting on my phone, putting the stereo full blast, Top Gun's Danger Zone, early in the morning, 68 degrees, the wind in the cab, and just going so fast and free, and how quiet everything got and how focused the moment was. And just to have that moment of freedom. At least that's what I would expect it to be, because I would never do something like that. My instructor would be disappointed in me. And, there could be a policeman sitting there, or there could be a deer in the road, or it could be a pothole, which it's a concrete road, so potholes are not an option. But I'm just saying, I wouldn't do that. But I bet it would be great. I bet it would. So now I've talked about what I've never done. I've talked about my instructors, and I've talked about the seating and the steering. The rest of the class was talking about how to deal with oversteer, understeer, fast braking, all these other things. And then we went out after a couple hours. We went out and applied those skills that we learned in the classroom into practical application in race cars, paired up in teams. And they would set up cones, and and it was really cool the way they did it, because once you look back on it, they taught you basic straight braking, and then higher speed straight braking, and then braking while having to steer after you brake. And it talked about the dynamics of the way the brakes work now, right? And how they didn't work that way. Used to lock up and you would have no power at all. But with the new braking system that every car has, it gives you the opportunity to steer, and so you get to build a little bit of comfort, a little bit of faith in the vehicle and faith in yourself, and then you get into higher speeds and higher turns and tighter issues, and then you start driving through those things without braking, and then braking afterwards. They did tell me a bunch of times that it's I need to try to break the brake pedal off the car and just stomp the brake pedal. I was surprised that hitting the brake pedal, I thought I was slamming on the brakes 100%, and I really wasn't, because with our cars, come to find out, it's a safety issue that if you ever lock up the brakes so hard, 100%, just bury that thing in the floorboard, your windows will go up automatically. And so what we would do, some of the guys doing it didn't put their windows down. And I don't think they hit the brakes all the way, but I can't say. But we put our windows down because we want to see. We'd lock up the brakes, and sometimes the windows wouldn't go up. And I'm like, dang it, I tried to kill that brake. And then other times I'd get in that thing. By the time the day was over, I'd get in that thing and I'd slam on them brakes so hard. My partner slammed on the brakes so hard, them windows would go up every time. And we'd laugh. And we sound like kids in there. It was hilarious. We had a great time. And then we got all that done. And then we got into the slalom, which, boy, howdy. We took off all the suspension control dampener systems. We made it as loosey goosey as possible, and we got up to speed. And then we hit these cones that were a lot closer than I'd expected. They look far away until you're in the car, and you're like, God dog it, those things are tight. Can y'all spread these out a little bit? You sure that's where we need to put them? And you're bobbing left, showing you're going right, showing you're going left, showing you're going right, showing you're going left, showing, and then you get to the end of the cones, and then all of a sudden you have to hit a U-turn that is so dang tight that when you dive into the U-turn, which is cones, thank God, um, you dive into the U-turn, there's only about a foot and a half gap on both sides of the car. So you better be dead in it. And then it is so tight that if you didn't get in it wide, you ain't gonna get out of it. Right. But then when you get out of it, there's a foot on each side. I mean, it is no margin for error. I mean, it is tight, tight, tight. And you're timed. And so you got to sling that thing, get through there. Then you got to go back through the slalom, shoom, 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 shoom. And then you have to end up stopping at a point where it basically is like a little lane with an end, and you're not supposed to run over out of the end. If so, you hit the wall and you're dead. Right. So and that was timed. That was we did slaloms twice, and that was our last event was our timed event. And these you could fail this class. Now, I have been told that if you fail the class, you can take the class a second time. But you know what? I don't know if you can. I don't know if they say, well, we're going to find you a job cleaning bathrooms because you can't do this. I mean, it's part of my job. I wouldn't stay in SVO if I wasn't able to do it. So there was some stress because you had to pass a class, and you had like eight, I guess, 8 or 10 different disciplines you had to learn, and you had to pass every one of them. And I will tell you that the morning was not my best, and I was on the bubble. I was kind of that was it's kind of was like, Bob, we got to get these last ones really good. You really, really, really need to do good. And I said, I got you, boss. And so there was some intensity. Usually we got to do the event 5, 8, 10 times, depending on what it was. And so you could master it. And so it was a learning experience. You had lots of opportunity. Everybody passed, not because they just said, "Oh, everybody passes, you get a participation trophy." No, everybody passed because they did a good job. Fantastic people did fantastic jobs. Um, the instructors did great jobs. Very motivational, very encouraging, very educational. So we actually did a good job. Now I will tell you, I'm going to jump forward to the end of the day. We had already gone through all the braking things. We had gone through the skid pad where I excelled at making donuts when I wasn't supposed to. More donuts than anybody. Um, but I figured it out. I got it going. My instructor was in there with me. But he was a little green by the time he got out because we did a lot of spinning. We did. We did. I got it though. He hung in there. He didn't give up on me. And he goes, "Look, do this." And I do it. And he goes, "All right, do this." And I do it. And then after a little while, I could put it all together, and I felt very comfortable with it. Um, in dealing with oversteer and understeer, what happens when your car gets out of control? Because in all honesty, the reason we take this class, it's a very expensive class. The reason we are taking this class is because we are working on cars that have the potential of not doing what they're supposed to do, and at a high rate of speed with very little time to react. That's a fact. And so we need to know what to do in those cases. So what they do is they do their best to simulate those moments that we can be prepared for what to do when it happens. Um, and it will help in life as well. If there's a something falls off a truck and we have to evasive brake or evasive accelerate, we know how to do that. If we hit dry eye or black ice or something like that, we know what we need to do to be able to correct ourselves and keep ourselves, the vehicle, and everybody in the vehicle safe as possible. Give us the best chance of success. Fantastic class. But the very last thing was a timed slalom. You had to start from a dead stop. You had to take off, and then you had to do a bunch of cones, lefty, right, lefty, right, lefty, right, lefty, right, lefty, right, and then you had to hit that U-turn, that hairpin turn. You had to dig in that. Then you had to go lefty, right, lefty, right, lefty, right, lefty, right, lefty, right, and then you had a little bit of time to speed up. But then as soon as you sped up, you had to hit the brakes, because if you didn't hit the brakes, you would go through the finish line and you would fail. You had to stop in the right spot, and the time was 28 seconds to beat. This was the last event. I'd made it to this event. My instructor was like, dude, you're here. All you got is this one. You got it. And I'm like, all right. And I was the oldest guy in the class, um, by far. Everybody, it's a young man's game and an old man. Beware of the old man in a young man's game. I'm just going to say that. But I was the only one that actually um, drove cars with old drum brakes on the road. Right? Everybody else, they might play with, restoring vehicles and this and that, but having a vehicle to drive with drum brakes, with those kind of brakes. And so they kind of talked about that, which was kind of funny. But got in there. I get 4 tries. The first try, whether you make it or not, is a test try. If you made it under 28 seconds and your test try, doesn't count. But you get to feel the track. And then you get 3 more runs. You have to make 28 seconds or less. 28 odd. You can't go 2801, 280011, right? You 28. That's the cap. You have to hit it one time. And you pass. And everybody's at the passing point. So this is where it's there. There's a couple guys who got a little bit too much swagger and not enough ability, and they're like, "What's the record? What's the?" And I'm sitting there going, "Y'all are stupid." I said, "All right, y'all be that super competitive. I just want to pass, right? I just want to pass. Um, I'm not trying to prove nothing to nobody. I'm proving stuff to myself." And so I got out there. I did my first run. Got in there. Doing good. I was getting it. I hit the U-turn, the hairpin, a little too tight. I didn't swing wide enough. I was trying to save some time. I didn't swing wide enough, because the farther you go, the longer it takes. But I came in the box wrong. I came in the curve wrong. And so when I came out, I just ate a cone. And a cone is 5 seconds. It's a 5-second penalty. And so I got to the end and hit the brakes, brake just fine, hit the box just fine. My time was 24 seconds, 26 seconds. Would have made it, but then you had 5 seconds on the cone. 31 seconds. No pass. It was a trainer. It was a practice. And I'm like, God. And he looked at me. I mean, at this point, we're kind of easy. I'm kind of the kid you want to win. I'm not saying I'm Special Olympics kid, but I'm kind of the kid that you want to cheer for. Come on, Bob, you can do it. Come on, Bob. I became that kid that you just know isn't that good, but you really want them to win because they just seem like they're cool people, and I want them to win. I'm not going to cheat for them. I'm not going to fake it for them, but I sure hope they pull it out from somewhere. And so he's like looking at me, going, "Come on, dude, you would hit that cone." Man, that was it. Just do it again. Stay off the dang cone. Because I was eating cones. I think 2 or 3 of the cones actually filed a 2-week notice after I was done with the track, and my partner was done with the track, because we were eating cones, boy. We were going way too fast, and we would crush these cones. And I hit one cone so hard. It was a little cone, but it was still a cone. I hit that cone so dang hard. I heard it up under my seat. I ran that heifer flat over and just stuck under my seat. Now I don't know what to do, because I'm on top of the cone. Am I tearing up the car? He goes on the microphone. He goes, "Bob, I think you tapped the cone." I'm like, "Yeah, boss." He goes, he goes, "Just drive over it." That cone back there. I think I heard that cone up under the car going, Dude, what did I do to you? God dog it. Oh, I think I need to go to a chiropractor. Bob doesn't kill me. I think there's a support group for cones. We're survivors of Bob the cigar guy. Because I did. I ate some cones. I got it. I ate cones usually on the first round because I was in it. I was getting it. I'm like, no, do this. I'm very teachable. I am. I'm very teachable. If you explain it to me, if you if you show me how to do it and you let me ask questions, and once I got it, I got it. I do. That's I'm that way. I am. I know that about myself. And so I just got to see it a couple times. I got to do it a couple times. You got to tell me the science behind it, and I will put it together and I will figure it out. And so the first one, I'm watching the other guys and I just can't see what they're doing. And so once I got in there the first time, I'd eat it. I would almost every one of the things I'd eat it, and then I would get a hold of it. So by the time it was done, I was doing all right. Right, it was. So he said, if you didn't hit the dang cone, you would have made your time. Do it again, but don't hit the cone. And I'm sitting there in my head going, do you think I wanted to hit the cone? I didn't want to hit the cone. I didn't mean to hit the cone. I like the cone. The cone's my friend. I just wanted to be near the cone, and I got a little too close. And so we loop back around, and the other cars go, and the other cars go, and the other cars go, and you're waiting. Um, you're waiting as you go, and then it's my turn again. He goes, "All right, Bob, this your first one." I'm like, "All right, boss." Now they've been calling out car number 3. That's my car, blue car, gorgeous car. I've been calling out car number 3 all day long. Both of us. Car 3, can you slow down? Car 3, where's your hands at? Boy, I was bad about my hands. Where's your hands at? Car 3, did you push the brakes all the way down? Now, I'm telling you, I think other people did not push the brakes all the way down, but they did not put the windows down before they started, so they didn't watch them go up. And I ain't hating them, but we just wanted to do it. We just wanted to go board out and wide open. We don't want any room for, well, they really didn't do it because of, no. So, which made us better because I did not know how hard you can press on those brakes. I was afraid I was actually going to break the brake pedal off. I did. I honestly did. I thought I was going to bend the brake pedal. I'm sitting there going, I'm going to tear up this car. Like, just do it. And so I said, all right, you told me to break the dang brake pedal. I'm going to break the dang brake pedal. I tried to break that brake pedal. I got cramps. My shoulders and back hurt so bad the next day from slamming that steering wheel so fast and so far and being so tense and so tight. I had a Charlie horse that night because the pedal on the side, the flat plate on the side of these cars that does not do anything, is not gas or brake. It's just please put your foot. You're supposed to put it there to hold yourself in place. And I did. And boy, I was on it. I was standing on it. When the other guy was driving, you had to literally slam both feet into the floorboard because he was jamming you around all over the place. Right. And because he's driving as fast as I was driving. And so you got to hang on. The first couple runs, your chest hurt from the seatbelt because it was jacking you around. But after that, you kind of knew what was coming. And it probably hurt just as bad. You just didn't notice it because you're having so much fun. We laughed so much. There was the joy of driving was so present in our car. Now I believe that they had the walkie-talkies on where they could monitor what we were saying because anytime we said something like, man, my hands weren't where they were supposed to be that time, not 10 seconds later, hey Bob, where's your hands at? Yeah. And we're talking about going over the speed limit. Man, I did 20 miles over what I was supposed to do. And you'd hear them on, hey, car 3, think you slow down? So we kind of thought by the end of the day that they were eavesdropping on us, and so we would make funny jokes and say, "Man, I sure do like our instructors. Our instructors are the best instructors in the whole wide world." I mean, we were very intense, we were very focused, we were very serious, but we had a good time as well because it should be fun. It should be. You're driving race cars on a race car track with professional instruction in timed events and competition. You should have fun, right? Some of these guys, they were so worried about being on the leaderboard, and there was no leaderboard. They wanted to be the best. They wanted to be the fastest. They wanted to be the whatever. And a lot of us were just like, shh, we just had a good old time. And most of us worked together. So, we did some bragging rights things. The guy was in the skid pad, and he ended up because the skid pad is a oval, or it's not an oval, it's a circle. It's a very tight circle, and they turn commercial water sprinklers on, like the ones you see on football fields and baseball fields. I mean, they dump some water. When the water sprinkler hits your windshield, it floods your windshield. You can't see until the wipers wipe it off. I mean, it is that much water. The water's everywhere, and it's got a camber to it. And so he ended up sliding into the infield, and because it's always watered, it's very, very, very lush and very soft. And he got stuck. And of course, we made fun of him about that, which all of us had had fun on there, and just one of us ended up getting in the grass. I almost hit the grass a couple times, and I couldn't laugh very much because I spun the car unintentionally more than anybody else. I am the donut king, self-proclaimed, but we had fun. I highly recommend taking the classes. I'll talk about that in a little bit. We've got 25 minutes, 24 minutes. So I get up on my first real run on the slalom of the last event of the day. This next 3 runs is going to decide whether I get my license and I keep my position, or I will always be known in our group as the guy who couldn't drive cars. Didn't want that. And I would have to take the class again, which wouldn't hurt my feelings, but it would have mitigated me being able to do my job until I took the class again. I didn't want to fail. I didn't. So I was kind of intense because it was serious. I gotten through everything. I got to get through this. So my turn comes up, and my instructor goes, "Don't hit the cone. Do what you did. Just don't hit the cone." I said, "All right, boss." And so my heart's beating. My hands are now numb from squeezing the steering wheel so hard, which I'm not supposed to squeeze the steering wheel that hard. I got fussed at that too. And they said, "Go." And off I went. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Slung wide. I was trying to run close on them cones. I decided I was going to really go wide. I was going to go open on them cones so I could get a different angle of attack when I come in. I'd have more room. I thought I had got it figured out. And I got in there, and the car is leaning one way and leaning another way and leaning, just like in the movies. I mean, that thing was getting. I was getting. And I was boom, 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 boom. And then here we come with this turn, this hairpin turn with the cones that are laughing at me, going, "Come on, Bob, hit me, hit me, hit me, hit me, hit me." And I'm like, "No, I ain't gonna hit you." Swung wide, real wide. I believe wider than everybody else, because everybody was trying to run that tight. And they were making it, but most of them were making it. A lot of people hit that corner. But I swung way wide. Got in. Angle was perfect. Literally, by the time I got the car into the curve, I was already in the angle I needed to be. And so I got in there. I hit that corner. I passed the apex of the corner, which is tight. I mean, it's tight. I hit the apex of the corner, hit the brakes a little bit, drove the nose to the inside a little bit, and through I went. I think I split that thing perfect. I really do. I think I had margins equal on both sides. I mean, I hit that thing like gold. I did. Just blessed. Thank God. Prayed really hard. Got really lucky. Whatever you want to call it. The instructor goes over the microphone, "No cones." And I'm like, "Yeah." And so then I know that I have got to get it to get back to make sure, because now I've made my cones. I feel confident about the slalom. I do. I'd hit the slalom good. I've been doing the slalom pretty well. Hardly hit any cones on the slalom. When I did, I barely touched them earlier. And so I'm zooming back and forth, zoom, 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 but I'm trying to speed up as I'm doing it. And it's getting a little faster, a little faster. It's getting a little tighter, a little tighter. The turns are getting a little bit closer and closer because I don't have enough time to make that wide of a turn, because I'm faster and faster and faster and faster and faster and faster. And I'm getting there, and I'm getting there, I'm getting there, I'm getting there. And then I come out of that last cone, didn't hit the cones. And then I'm punching it hard, because I don't know how many seconds I got. I'm punching that thing hard, worried that I'm going to go through it, but I'm like, I got to make it. I got to make it. Even if I don't make it to the end, let's see if I can get a 25 or 26. And then I know I have a 2-second window. So the next time I have 2 more runs, I can slow down just a little bit. And I slide into there. I literally lock up the brakes, lock them hammer down, slide in there. I can see myself getting to the end of the box, the end of the box, the end of the box. It's closer, 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 closer. 10 feet, 8 feet, 7 feet, 6 feet, 5 feet, 4 feet, 3 feet, 2 feet, 1 foot. Stop. I had a foot left. I was in the box. I wish I knew which button was the yay thing on here because I probably, if I pushed it, go wah, wah, wah. But no, I hit it. I hit it. And I looked back in my rearview mirror because they got one of those. I mean, it's professional. They got one of those little time things that read your time, right? The big red letters like I see at the Olympics and at time trials and stuff. And that Joker blinked 24. I don't even know what the numbers are because I saw 2 and a 4, and 4 is less than an 8. And I made it. And I looked over at my instructor, and he gave me the biggest thumbs up. And he said, "My windows are up now because I hit the brakes so hard the windows go up." I could see his lips going, "You did it." Threw my arms up. I was excited. At that moment, we had a celebration. And then I swung around to get back in line to do it again because I had 2 more runs. The competition's over for me. The test is over. I have passed. I have got my license. I got 2 more times. And he came over and he goes, well, the other instructor comes over, he goes, "You did it." He pounded me, gave me a pound. And I'm gonna tell you, I think I was the only one that got the pound, right? Because I was really everybody else probably just as serious as I am, but I was the one that was externally serious, going, "Man, I got to win this thing. I got to make this thing." I had talked to the instructor, say, "Look, I got to do it. If there's something I'm doing stupid, fix me, because I don't want to fail this class." I was very driven to pass the class. And the other instructor came up and he gave me a pound. He goes, "Good job," and I'm like, "Yeah." I was excited. I showed it. I was excited. I know I'm usually just so quiet and so reserved, and you can't tell my emotions because I'm stoic. But that day, I was like, "Look, kid, I was having a great time." And so then I pulled up to the starting gate again, and the windows were down. The instructor goes, "You look a little happier, Bob. You don't look very stressed. You looked stressed a minute ago." I said, "What?" He goes, "You look a little happier. Somebody's having fun." I said, "I am now. I done passed the test." He goes, "Yeah, you looked really stressed." And I don't know why I said it, but it was funny when I said it. It was apropos, not even a thought in my head. I said, "Stressed? Bub, I'm in a race car on a race car track. I've been shot at. This ain't stress." And he goes, "What?" And I said it again. And as I'm thinking about it, I'm like, "Man, I sound like a jerk." But I was just in the moment. I was. I hope he forgives me. I was just in the moment. I was living that moment. God, 16 years and I did it. Oh. And so then I got to have fun because now I had won. Now, he told us, he said, "Look, if you pass and then you get out there and you do something stupid and you tear up the car or you spin out, you don't pass." So there's still don't become an idiot. Problem is I'm already an idiot. So my level of idiocy can only go up from there. So I got in it. I got in it. Them cones, them cones were shaking. They were scared to death. They're like, "That boy, there's something in his eyes. There's something in that boy's eyes." And I was getting it. I got in there and I was swinging wide, dipping in, making the car just bob and weave. And we are sliding all over the inside of the car. And my my co-pilot starts giggling. He starts laughing because it's fun and I'm laughing. And he's like, "Dude, go, 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 go." And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah." And we get in that corner and I sling through that corner, don't hit the brakes. I just come out of that thing, doesn't hit a cone, come back. And I get in there and I hit the brakes. I don't mess anything up. And my number was even better. I don't know what it was. I didn't care. I was having a good time. I was having a great time and I was honing my skills. In the back of my mind, I was honing my skills, but in the front of my mind, I was just having a blast. I was. And then we come back around and we did the last time. I do it again. And I have such a fun time. And then um my partner, it's my we switch drivers and my partner gets in there and he does amazing. He does fantastic, right? Because in the middle, when we're coming back from, they would switch. He was driver one, I was driver two. So some of the events, driver one went first, and some of the events, driver two went first. So when driver one went first, I take some videos of him, and then I would really watch his hand position, his foot position, his steering position, and then I would ask him questions when he does. I say, "Okay, do you feel like you could have went farther? Do you feel like it would have been better to go tighter? Do you feel like you should have hit the brakes earlier? Do you feel like you should have hit brakes later? How do we quit speeding so dang fast, right? How do we break our speed down a little bit?" And we really talked through it because we both really were having a great time, but we were being serious. And so he would do the same with me. So after we did the slaloms and loop around, I talk about what I did, and he goes, "I saw what you did with this and this and this, and you were too tight in the beginning, but you opened up, and that really changed. And then you opened up a little too much, but that was fun." And so he got in there, and I think his first trial, he was within 24. His practice was within 24, 25. And then I don't think he hit a cone the rest of the day, the rest of the event. I mean, he did a great job. I had I had such a great time. God, this Camacho is great. I had such a great time. By the way, it might be wise for me to talk about Camacho since Camacho sponsors this content. Thank you, Camacho. Um, Loving Camacho cigars. If you smoke Camacho, let me know what you smoke. I'd love to know. And there's also that Avo, that Davidoff, that Zeno Nicaragua, that Baccarat. You smoke any of those? I'd love to know. I'd love to know. But this racetrack experience was a lot like the smoking lifestyle in the relationship way. Everybody was encouraging each other, but I got to spend time in the car with a guy going through some serious time, and we've worked together casually. We help each other out in bays and fixing cars, and we chit chat and talk like guys in the shop do. But we really built a bond in that period of time. And smoking cigars does that. You sit down with somebody you've never met before, and you're smoking a cigar, and you're just having conversations, and just the coming together really builds those moments that are just amazing. They're fantastic and phenomenal. And now I've got about 13 minutes left. And I gave a couple teasers. But you may be wondering, how do I do that? Well, here's a great thing. And if you leave me a message, a comment on this video and say, "Hey, tell me about how to get to the race car classes." If you leave me a message on here, a comment on here, I will comment back to you instead of doing that right now, trying to go through all the technical whatever. But it is the B&W Performance Center of South Carolina. They have one in California as well, but this one's in South Carolina. And you can take a um, driver um, proficiency course. You can take, they have one for high school students, teaching them safety. You can take a, honest to God, 1 day race car license or 1 day race car class. You can also take a 2 day race car class, which I believe you can get your race car rookie license by doing that. You get certified, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not 100% sure. You can also take our SUVs, SAVs, whatever they call them now, and go through a very fun off-road course. They also have the motorbikes, the motor rats, and you can actually do an off-road course there where you're doing all sorts of crazy stuff. Now, those people stand up on them bikes almost the whole time. That's not my game right there. But you learn proficiency in how to push your bike and where your limits are within safety and controls. It's fantastic. You can also, if you go and purchase one of our cars, go to a dealership, you get your car built for you, and when you go to get it, you can actually say, "Hey, I would like it to be delivered to the performance center." They will deliver it to the performance center. In delivering it to the performance center, it costs no more. You go there, you go to the performance center. Let's say you're living in Missouri. just for instance. You fly down to South Carolina, you stay in a hotel, you have a great time, and then you go and you get to get an extra inspection on your vehicle. They take and they teach you all about all the things on your vehicle. They set up your phone, they set up your contacts, they set up all your personal preferences, they set up your seat the way it's supposed to be. They teach you about all the options in the car because the options are so many. It's so crazy. And then you get to go out and maybe do a little driving, and then you get a race car driver to take you on what's called a hot lap. And that's an experience because they get it. They get it like they going for the cup, right? They going for the checker flag, and it's a hoot and a half. And so you get to do that and have that experience. So those are some of the offerings that you can get. And they have other things that you can do there. But if you want any of that information, uh, leave me a comment, and I will get you on the dog, as I say. I will put you in contact with the information you need to have so that you can order. I am so excited about this class for Christmas. I am going to purchase, don't tell the First Lady and Gracie, I'm going to purchase them a 1 day racing class so that they can go out there and experience it because I think they're going to love doing that. I really, 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 really do. I think they're going to enjoy the fool out of it. I've got other things planned for Chief and for Shandy Jade, but the First Lady and Gracie are going to get to go do the race class sometime next year. Now, I also mentioned something else about one of the instructors that you may get to hear from him again. So, oh my God, we were on the skid pad, and I was making donuts after donuts after donuts after donuts, and we finally stopped, and he goes, "Can I tell you some things?" And I said, "Oh my God, please do." I said, "It would be stupid for me not to sit here and listen to you with your experience and knowledge and wisdom in race car driving. I don't know anything about race car driving. I don't." I said, "Why would I not want to listen to you?" I said, "Now, if you want to talk about cigars, Bubba, I can talk cigars." And I can. And he goes, "Really?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "I'm kind of getting into cigars. I got some cigars." I said, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "Bubba, when you get together and smoke?" I said, "Number one, that'd be cool. I'd love to hear your stories. Number two, I know a lot about cigars, and I could help you out with that in your life, like you helped me with driving. And if you ever want to reach out to me, I have a YouTube channel. Don't watch it; it's the biggest waste of time on the internet. But if you leave me a comment, say, hey, performance center instructor, blah 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 blah. Give me your name, and I'd like to meet up and talk with you. Absolutely." And he goes, "You have a YouTube channel?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "I told you it's the worst YouTube channel in the world." And he goes, "Really?" He goes, "What do you do?" This was after the class was over. After I passed the test. We talked about this last part. He goes, what do you do?" I said, "Well, I do reviews. I do events. I cover media for events. We have a 2 hour live show every Thursday night at 8:15. Chief Talk. If you haven't been there, you need to watch it. It's a great show. Chief does a great job. We have a giveaway every second Saturday with the First Lady, and we talk about cigar adjacent stuff. People that love cigar smokers but don't smoke themselves. Great, great, great stuff. And then I said, "And I have a podcast I put out every Friday." He goes, "You have a podcast?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Do you ever have guests on your podcast?" And everything inside me got giggly. I said, "No, but I would. You want to be on my podcast?" He goes, "Yeah, I'd love to be on your podcast. We could talk about all this stuff. We could talk about racing. We could talk about NASCAR. We could talk about everything." I said, "Are you serious?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "Are you serious?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "All right." He's about to get married, so we ain't gonna do it right now. And then the holidays come, right? Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. So doing it now would probably be very time restrictive for him as well as for me. Um, and I said, "Hey, let's plan on doing this early next year. Let's do a podcast early next year. And I said, how many you want to do? He goes, I can talk a lot. And I said, well, maybe we'll get together for a day and we'll shoot 3 or 4 podcasts and we will do a series. He goes, I'm down. And I said, are you serious? He goes, yeah. I said, done. So I'm excited because we are going to get to talk about some stuff that I have no knowledge of that I think will be interesting and some inside questions. I'm going to ask some questions I've always wanted to know that probably you shouldn't be asking. Like, all right, I know you got the heated and cooled outfits in there, but do you have a Gatorade bottle on the side? Because you're driving for a good while. What if you got to go tinkle? You know, you just pull out the Gatorade bottle and you take care of business. You can't pit stop to pit stop, right? That ain't good. Or do you worry about what you eat the day before you go on a race? Or do you avoid Taco Bell? Well, I mean, let's think about it. I'm going to ask those kind of questions, and I'm going to ask some other questions, but those are questions I've always wanted to know. I'm weird. I am. So that's coming down the pipe. I'm very excited about that. I'm extremely excited about that. I think it will be phenomenal content. But now we've been going 56 minutes, and I could talk for another 4 hours on this day. I didn't get into hardly anything we got into. I got into slaloms um, last Sunday with the Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust video I do every Sunday. I talked about the skid pad and my donut making ability. That's a fun and funny story. I highly recommend you go back and watch it. Not that I need the views, which views don't hurt my feelings, but because I think you'll laugh and I think you'll have a good time. And I think you may be, if you're on the fence, well, I wouldn't mind going to that race class. And maybe this would be a thing. Say, you know what, that'd be kind of cool. And I would learn something practical for everyday life as well. So maybe I want to get a hold and do that. I'm not sponsored by them. I don't make any money by them for saying this. It's my goal, just like most of the stuff I do, is to give you the opportunities to make your life a little better. And so I think this would bring some joy to your life and you'd have a great time doing it. I would. And it would make you a safer driver. It will. So the world's a mess right now. People are so overwhelmed. Some people are so overwhelmed that they are making decisions that are life altering, not just for themselves, but for others. It is important to take care of yourself, keep yourself safe, but to live your life. We all have risks every day, so we have to make decisions as to how we mitigate those risks. That's the truth. So if you find yourself in a sketchy situation or something that just doesn't feel right, listen to your gut, protect yourself, get away from it, if at all possible. If you find yourself going down a rabbit hole where you think that doing actions that could cause the shortening of somebody's time on earth or the shortening of your time on earth, no, that's not the right answer. Know that whatever situation is presented in that, stopping your future is never the right answer. If you feel like you're in that position, or if you feel like you're going down that rabbit hole, get help. You are too valuable to not be here as long as you can be. You are too valuable. We're not here to survive life. We're here to live and thrive in life. We're here to have these moments like I did with the race cars. We're here to have these moments like I do with smoking these cigars and just having this moment with you. It is never bad enough to say that's enough. It's not. Please, if you feel like you're in that position, get help. If you see somebody that seems like they're in that position, get them help. Even if you have to talk to somebody about it, even if you can't do it yourself. Say, hey, I'm worried about so and so. It'd be better to have somebody lose you as a friend and continue living a good life and get out of what they get out of than not say anything because, well, I don't want to upset somebody. Please take care of yourself. Take care of those around you. Now, show's over. You're in that parking lot. You're in that driveway, hopefully. Cut the car off, get out of the car, shut the door. Because on the other side of that car door is the beginning of living. Get in that house with the people that you love and that love you. Enjoy your weekend, enjoy your life. Be intentional about you because you are valuable. Self-care is not selfish. So take care of yourself and have those moments. And if smoking cigars is one of those things that you enjoy doing, why don't I suggest a Camacho, a Davidoff, a Avo, a Zino Nicaragua, maybe a Baccarat, maybe two. Let me comment, tell me what you thought. Tell me how many times you laughed. I'd love to know. I'll see you later. It's Bob Cigar Guy saying smoke easy. Semper Fi. Later, Tater.